Hey everybody, welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
What's up, everybody? I'm Bogz.
Back for another week of ANDOR. This episode 11, Daughters of Ferrix. Very a very emotional episode. A lot of emotional turmoil in this episode. A lot of conversations that I think were necessary and needed to happen. And now this is the penultimate episode, and I have no idea where we're going from here. Overall, Bogz, what do you think of this episode?
Overall, 2 to 3 minutes of this episode was worth watching. The rest was dull.
Oh, really?
Slow. Yeah. Uninteresting. Basically, Stellan Skarsgård's character is cool, and that kind of space battle that he had for 2 minutes maximum was really cool. Except for that, I didn't need to watch this episode. They're drawing out everything so much. The Cyril stuff, the Miro stuff, Mon Mothma stuff, the big stuff. We've seen the same beats. I mean, we're on episode 11, and Cyril is not any further with Cassian. He's still surprised, still chasing Cassian after kind of what happened from episode 3. I mean, we're only this far along in this story. I was massively frustrated watching this episode, and I actually picked up my phone a few times just to scroll through. That's always a sign, because as you're picking it up, I'm hesitating. I'm thinking I'm not going to be fully concentrating, but is that disinteresting? It's like a unconscious, subconscious thing where you pick up your phone, whatever. So I picked up my phone a couple of times. I feel like I'm almost completely checked out. Like, I could not care less about Cyril's mother again. Giving him, even she had a couple of lines or whatever, but why do we need to see this, this old lady at him again and again? It's so slow. That is, I'm almost checked out now, to be honest. So that's how I feel. I mean, the space stuff, with that Star Destroyer and stuff with Stellan Skarsgård carried up, cool. It was 2 minutes. But I did enjoy that part, but that's literally the only part I enjoyed, because the rest was so frustrating. And of course, I say it every week, beautifully made, from the set design in particular. I really like the costumes as well. I mean, they may be some of the best. I mean, if someone told me this is the best set design, art direction, costume design, potentially acting that's ever been in Star Wars, I would entertain that argument. I mean, it's that good. But the story is, I get why it's the least watched Star Wars property to come out of Disney Plus. I absolutely get that. So that was a long answer to a very simple question, but and it's a complex feeling there.
I don't think I disliked it as much as you did, but I also felt it dragging a little bit. To me, this episode is kind of hammering in that this did not need to be a 12 episode season, because I feel like I enjoyed the conversations that were happening in this episode. I feel like we should have had them a long time ago. It should not have taken us 11 episodes to get this far. The fact that this is the first time we're seeing Cyril's Scottish buddy, his sergeant or whatever, oh, I forgot about him at this point. Honestly, it's been so long since we've seen him. Everything with Mon Mothma and Vel and the conversation about the money. It's okay, we've been hinting at this for 6 episodes. These are these were a lot of good moments that we took so long to get them. I kind of don't care anymore. I could not care less about anything to do with Cyril at this point. I think they've wasted that. I think there was a monumental opportunity with that character that they completely wasted. The ISB, the woman in the ISB, what's her name? Mira was so interesting when she came in, and then just like Cyril, her role has gotten smaller and smaller, and I'm caring less and less. I'm a little miffed that Marva just kind of died between episodes off screen. I feel like I
think I was actually I thought I missed something. I thought I was on my phone, and I was like, oh, I rewound some, and I was like, what? They're just saying she's dead.
I stopped
Like,
the
look how.
episode to go back
Mm.
to last week's because I was like, I know they mentioned like everyone going to check on her, but I was like, did I look away and she
Mm.
died? And no, it happened between episodes. I was like, that's almost disrespectful. Like, is for
I
as
mean,
much as
it seemed like she wanted to go out on a shield,
yeah,
kind of thing, with a part, to like spark a rebellion or some sort like that. Um, and then she just dies off screen. What? Because she's an old lady? Like, I don't know. It
and
was.
if
I
they're
was
gonna have
confused.
her if they're gonna have her die, of poor health and old age, I mean, that's fine. But like, I think we deserved kind of a final moment with her. Especially it's
Yeah.
Fiona Shaw. Like,
Yeah, that would have been
it's
a good scene,
yeah,
a good death scene, or some emotion, from Cassian or someone else, because she was well known on that in that little community that they've got there.
yeah,
That'd be cool. Or with the droid, maybe that could have been a unique scene, like
yeah,
kind of like
and Lola
Leia and R2 a little
and
bit.
R2, yeah,
Yeah, in what was the Rise of Skywalker kind of thing.
yeah.
But yeah, just like reminiscent of that. But yeah, sorry, finish what you're
No,
saying.
I was gonna say, and like I appreciated what they were doing with the droid, how he had spent so much time, with Marva and was very attached to her. And obviously, this is a droid who is like everyone's kind of got this kind of they look at him. They don't look at him as just a droid. They treat him like another member of the family.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I'd seen more of them together, especially in those final moments.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I liked what they were going for. I wish we had gotten there sooner, and certain aspects of it I wish were handled differently. Again, the design of everything is amazing. Skarsgård's character continues to be my favorite, but I'm also just kind of also now I'm falling into this mentality of like, did this show need to be about Cassian Andor? Because ultimately, I'm just like I know he's there to kind of be the through line through everything, but what's he doing? He's not really doing anything. He's just kind of around
Mm.
or just to witness all these things, but he's not contributing anything really.
Yeah, I mean, I almost totally agree. Especially like, does it need to be a Cassian show? Um, and the more it drags on, and now I'll be honest, I want the show to end. Like, I was thinking this a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah.
Looking forward for your Star Wars fix every week, and then you get such a slow, dual-paced thing where it's almost not Star Wars, but a couple of minutes, I'd say. In terms of what we all identify as being a part of Star Wars, and why I'm really struggling to get my head around is that people calling this the best ever thing they've seen in Star Wars, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and if you like the show, that's great, but if you're saying that kind of stuff, quite frankly, I don't believe you, quite frankly, because you know the viewing figures for this, if you look at the analytics and data, it's really, really bad compared to even Tales of the Jedi. I think the week that Tales of the Jedi was released, in terms of all the streaming shows that dropped that week, I think House of Dragon was one, Tales of the Jedi was two, and I believe Cassian was eighth watch streaming show in the world. I mean, that's shocking. And these people who do like the show, obviously, they're the ones that have been clamoring for, let's have a show with no Force, use or no Jedi or no Sith or no a non-Skywalker story or that kind of thing. I mean, and these people aren't monetizing or aren't supporting the show enough, or they they've like gathered the it's like these are just people on Twitter. They're not people who actually genuinely care about Star Wars. These are casuals, to be honest, that
Yeah.
are kind of jump in and out. So I don't know. I mean, this is what we got. 11 episodes in. This is probably the most I've been frustrated with watching the show. I mean, even the way it ended, just them two talking and shaking hands and walking off. I was like, is that it?
Yeah.
Like, so there is a lot of potential with this show. Even now, I'd say there's still a lot of potential because it's set in such a good time. I did kind of like the Mon Mothma scene, like it was completely dull. But I mean, it's her acting. You know how she was getting emotional. Like I am invested in Mon Mothma's story because it's obviously with the politics, with the Senate, um, potentially, you know, with Palpatine and other, you know, kind of prequel characters and stuff. And I am interested to see more of that. But the way they've done it is so slow. And yeah, it's put me off, to be honest. It's completely put me off. I mean, how can you refer, you know, this show to people? Like, I just don't know. And, you know, people to call it the best ever, I mean, absolutely shocking for me to hear that kind of stuff. And yeah, to be honest, massively frustrated at the minute, because it's not. I need more. I mean, 2 minutes were great in this episode. Well, we're not even really discussed it because the frustration completely outweighs that 2 minutes. And it was great to see. I love that space while the Star Destroyer looked great. Of course, that is an old concept art of how a Star Destroyer used to look like, or was originally supposed to look like, which is what I forgot the artist's name, but that's what the that's what that specific destroyer is named after. So yeah, that was a nice, you know, awesome reference. And obviously Skarsgård's, you know, weaponry or armory or arsenal in that ship was fantastic. The music was pretty good as well. You know, I was like, okay, I'm enjoying this. It's 2 minutes. You know, 2 minutes. You've been waiting all week and stuff. So yeah, it was a chore to get through this week, to be honest, mate.
So to go to your point about the numbers, just for the sake of accuracy, so the week that Tales of the Jedi dropped on Disney Plus, it was the fourth. No, I'm sorry. It was the 9th most streamed series that week. Tales of the Jedi was the week of October 26th when it dropped. Andor was the 7th, so it was 2 spots higher. However, that was it had been 3rd up until that week, and then it dropped to 7th the week that Tales of the Jedi came out. Tales of the Jedi was 9th the week that it dropped, but it increased the week after because it's so much good word of mouth. And yeah, to your other points too as well. Like, yeah, like the Luthen scene is so cool. I mean, it isn't that classic early concept art for a Star Destroyer now being used as kind of like a patrol comm ship kind of thing. Was a really cool idea. I loved the way he was like, you know, he's got that co-pilot droid and he's like, give me a registration number and we'll do this. And then basically, you know, you see in the whole spy movies when they drop the sparks out of their car that flatten tires, it's basically the Star Wars version of that. And it was cool to see. And I guess the starship lightsaber thing he used to take out was cool. It was over. It was over a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
I'm being generous with 2 minutes. It might even have been less than a minute. Like seriously, it might have been. But also, but straight out of like Rogue One, it was it was really good. You know, no complaints from that.
And I really enjoyed his scene with Saw Gerrera as well. I really enjoyed that because it was cool to see Saw Gerrera back. We're starting to see a bit more elements of like, Saw Gerrera is like all about let's just run in there guns blazing, and Luthen's the one having to tell him like, you need to take a deep breath and understand the bigger picture here. And so, because when we get to Rogue One, the rest of the rebellion has distanced themselves from Saw Gerrera because he doesn't look big picture. He looks right now. So it was cool. I liked that scene a lot. Again, the Mon Mothma stuff, I'm like, this should be a lot more interesting than it is. But it's taken us so long to get here. I'm more just like, finally, like now we're understanding what her problem is because we've heard her for 5 episodes talk about something need to move money, but why? And now we finally know why. Like, oh, she's basically like up a creek, and now we know what the actual problem is.
Right.
So now we get into my famous conversation of next week's the finale. Can they stick the landing?
Right.
With Disney Plus shows this year, hasn't really been the case. Even the shows I've enjoyed, the final episode tends to fall kind of flat, and they've spent 11 episodes building up for this finale. We know we're getting a season 2 to tell the second half, whatever this story is.
Right.
When the show has hit, it has hit very well. When it's missed pretty big. Do we think, what are we expecting for the finale as far as, do we think they'll be able to do it?
I really don't know, to be honest. I mean, there's so many storylines and character arcs to tie up, which they have had 12 episodes to tie this up. Some of these arcs up. I have no clue what's going to get tied up or continue over. Yeah, I mean, where's Cassian going to be? I mean, he seems to be quite far away from everyone else, or on a different path a little bit, from the political kind of like linking up with Stellan Skarsgård and Mon Mothma. Like he seems way away from there, which we know he's with that side in Rogue One, but obviously there is another, at least another season. So, but where he is now, he's like totally out of the picture. The Mira Bix stuff. I mean, did Bix even have a line in this episode? I mean, how long is she being tortured for? Like, whatever.
I think the implication is she's been being tortured this whole time, which is horrific. But I mean, yeah, she just kind of was just on screen for one scene in this episode.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been like that for 3 episodes. She just comes in for a couple of scenes, shows she's being tortured, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I really don't know, Mike, to be honest. Hoping for some kind of nice visuals, cool action scenes, like we did on that planet. I forgot with the cool looking shower, meaty shower, whatever that was.
I forget what it was now.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called. That every so often they did that festival. Yeah. And yeah, of course, Aldani. And that space battle we had in this episode, I'm sure it will be great. But am I thinking they're going to stick a landing? Absolutely not. I mean, they haven't stuck a landing the whole show, in my opinion. So, will it be a good episode? I hope so. I'm down. Or, I have said there has been good episodes. Last week was pretty good. So, but overall, especially exactly what you're saying, Disney Plus generally don't stick the landing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but this episode was really supposed to get me excited for the finale, and at the minute I'm almost totally disinterested, apart from just seeing the pure admiration of the filmmaking, basically. Whether it's a bit of the acting, whether it's the visuals, whether it's CG, whether it's cinematography, that's what I'm more interested in rather than the story, because I'm almost totally checked out on the story.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to next episode. Whether it's good or not, we'll see. But my excitement is pretty low, to be honest.
Yeah. At this point, I'm also just kind of worried that because they know they're doing a second season, is it just going to be a big cliffhanger setup for season 2, or are we going to get any kind of? It's hard to say, because when you talk about like wrapping up a story and all that, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell the story even is this season, because I honestly don't know.
No.
Like, we know that some Imperials are looking for Cassian Andor. I'm not super sure how hard they're looking for him, though, if their only plan is just let them have a funeral for his mom and see if he comes back. It's like that's not a great plan. You're assuming that it's I don't know. And there was no mention of like a prison break or anything. It's like one of your prisons a mass escape. Nobody cares. Okay.
There was 5,000 people in that prison, and just no one's bothered. I don't know.
I don't know. I we'll see. I don't have a lot of optimism, just because again the Disney Plus shows this year have not had the best season finales in general. Whether or not I like the show, I really liked Moon Knight. Moon Knight, I don't think did a very good job at its finale. I liked Ms. Marvel. I thought the Ms. Marvel finale was kind of hit or miss. So,
having said that, though, Mike, I think the Star Wars finales have been better than the Marvel ones. For example, finale Mandalorian first season was good.
Yeah.
With the Darksaber. Second one was I still think that's almost perfect Star Wars with Luke. Obi-Wan, I despise that series, but the last episode was the best.
It was a good finale. It was a very good finale. Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett missed. That's a fair miss. But obviously all the animations are pretty much hits. So Star Wars ones, I think you can be more optimistic with. But yeah, they have had some misses as well. So I totally get what you're thinking.
Yeah. So I remain hopeful, although maybe cautiously optimistic, I think I've enjoyed this show a bit more than you have in particular, and we've talked about that at length every week. So I think that's probably what's helping. But this week's episode, for being the lead into the finale, was a bit of a letdown, and just in terms of just like what happened. I mean, Cassian got on a ship, and he knows his mom's dead, and that's really about it. So we'll see. We'll be here next week to talk about it, of course. We want to know what you guys think, so make sure you let us know down in the comments, and we'll see how this show managed to wrap itself up for season 1 going into season 2. And until next time, guys, we'll see you here again next time on Off the Wall. Bye.